Alright, I swear, if nobody here knows the name of this comic that I'm about to talk about, just from this image alone, we're gonna have some issues. Anyways, all joking aside, hello everyone, Rambling Collector back here, and today we're going to talk about a classic Batman DC comic. Today we are going to address The Killing Joke. Now, I've had a couple friends actually recommend this one to me for review, and honestly, I am more than happy to do so, as this is a classic among DC Comics fans, as well as a classic to comic fans in general. Because this addresses a lot of things, such as especially the origin of the Joker. Well, in comic books at least. But anyways, let's have fun with this one. Now just sit back and enjoy the show. So first off, I love how this comic addresses Joker during one of his absolutely worst moments, where after buying an old broken down amusement park and changing it into his own personal evil lair, before then he goes out of his way to find Barbara and Jim Gordon in their apartment. He shoots Barbara Gordon, permanently paralyzing her and ending her career as Batgirl, before then kidnapping Jim Gordon and taking him to this amusement park lair of his, where he proceeds to strip him naked, demoralize him, and try to turn him insane in some weird convoluted plan to show that everyone is the same as him. Meanwhile, you have Batman on the other side of the coin trying to find a more peaceful way to end his and Joker's conflict, as he realizes that they are running out of options, and that sooner or later it will come down to who will kill who, and that's something that Batman wants to avoid, as Batman's golden rule is he never kills or wields a gun. So seeing this was actually fascinating, as they are addressing that kind of relationship that they have. No matter how screwed up and absolutely nonsensical it is, it somehow works for the both of them. And honestly, I really love the art style as it focuses on this whole almost realistic look to it, with all the dark shadows, bright colors, and everything else, as well as the three-dimensional shape of everyone, how it looks like they're about to pop out at you and come to life. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this comic, and it's still one of the best to read. Whenever I just want to quickly browse a comic I've already read every once in a while. However, on the flip side, not only do we get to see Joker at his worst and Batman trying to find a peaceful solution to this, we also get glimpses of the Joker's backstory and how he officially became the Joker. At one point he was an individual Batman would have probably protected, a common man, just trying to support his pregnant wife and trying to find them a better life out of this dilapidated apartment that we see them in. And I find it fascinating how he was originally roped into crime whilst trying to find a better living for his wife after quitting the chemical plant and trying to pursue a career as a comedian, which, as judging by the comic, was obviously not going well. However, it all proves to be just a major gut punch to the guy, as he later on finds out from the police that his wife dies in an accident with a bottle warmer. And in the end, he's still roped into it by the Red Hood gang, as shown here in this slide. And we see how he's roped into it, disguised as the Red Hood, whilst trying to bring them through the chemical plant that he used to work at, before it all goes horribly wrong, after he realizes that the chemical plant has upped their security, and during a shootout, the two crooks who brought him into this get shot and killed by the police before he encounters Batman. And as he's trying to take the mask off, he falls into a chemical vat, or just chemically polluted water, and it forever bleaches his skin, turns his hair green, and gives that sadistic grin that we all know the Joker to possess. And at that point I feel like his mind truly broke, because after one thing after another, first finding out his wife was killed, being roped into crime, being cornered by the police and by Batman, before jumping into a chemical vat and having his body completely changed, permanently, might I add. I believe that's enough to make any person snap, which gives away to the Joker's personal mentality of all it takes is one bad day. Which apparently is proven wrong by the fact that Jim Gordon, despite all the torture that he endures from the Joker, does not turn insane like he did. Which Batman then points out is that maybe it's just him. Maybe he's the only one who would turn insane, and not just any average person. And I found it very fascinating as I was reading to see that. To see how he has this whole philosophy of how all it takes is just one bad day or one bad thing for someone to crack. When really it was multiple things that made him crack. The death of his wife, being roped into a crime that he did not want to commit, before finally just having himself disfigured the way he was. And Batman retorting that was pretty satisfying to see, in my personal opinion. Now, for those of you who prefer a more visual approach than just reading a comic, there is also a movie adaptation of the comic. However, it doesn't just adapt the comic itself, but which I think was very well done, and very well animated, especially since it brought back the classical voices of Kevin Conroy for Batman and Mark Hamill for Joker. Which pretty much, I'm sure if you've read any Joker comic, you've probably heard Mark Hamill's voice in your head. He's just that classic of a voice. But anyways, so the movie adaptation was very well done. However, before it gets to the main story of The Killing Joke, and the reason it was adapted to begin with, it has this additional story where it talks about Batgirl and her conflicting and romantic feelings for Batman before Batman admonishes her that she still thinks it's a game of crime fighting, and that she hasn't been to the edge where she's almost killed someone, which she very nearly does in the movie. Which I thought the additional story was okay, and I understand where they're coming from, because they didn't just want to make a whole 30-minute movie and be done with it. They wanted to add a little more, make it a real cinematic piece, and I guess give more motivation for Batman to hunt down Joker this time around. But really, it probably was unneeded altogether. I'm pretty sure a lot of fans would agree that the whole romantic drama between Batman and Batgirl was unneeded, but it did give a reason as to why Barbara Gordon would eventually quit being Batgirl. However, for me, when it comes to Joker origin stories, and this is just my personal opinion, The Killing Joke is a very good one, but I personally have more of a fondness for the 2019 Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. I feel that the movie was very well done in giving a very good backstory to the Joker, and if anything, it really addresses the Joker's opinion, is that he prefers his backstory to be multiple choice. And Joaquin Phoenix's version of the Joker could just be another choice for the Joker for his backstory. So all in all, both movies are really good. I recommend checking them out and see which one you would prefer for a Joker origin story. But now to wrap things up, I would say I would give Killing Joke a solid 10 out of 10. Mostly for the fact that this is a classic comic within DC for any comic book fan, and that this is always a must-have for any comic book collector to have on their shelf, as well as a very good story, as well as movie adaptation. Anyways, thank you all for listening, and have a good day.